I have had this camera, the Leica MP, for about 4 months now, and I want to share with you some thoughts that I've had. It's currently got the 28mm Overrated, which is a beautiful lens, and I've had a fantastic time using this camera. And so I thought that this would be an appropriate time to share with you my thoughts on this camera specifically, as well as being a first-time film shooter, because yeah, there was a lot of comments previously about how I didn't make the best decision. And so if you don't know who I am JP. I am a full-time professional photographer, and I create content for the biggest brands around the world. And I've also authored a book called Street Tools. Now go get it. And Street Tools is, in my opinion, the best book about learning photography. It is absolutely everything that I wanted to know when I was going through the tough process of what it actually takes to create beautiful images, and everything that I know is in here. But right, let's get onto the camera. So, this thing it's beautiful. Let's not beat around the bush with this. This thing looks exceptional. But not only that, it has a fantastic tactile feel. Everything just clunks into place. Right, listen to this. Yeah. Oh, that is just absolutely beautiful, and it makes everything feel deliberate, intentional, well engineered, and that I think is so rewarding as a photographer. And this is getting into minutia because it's a film camera. Film cameras, depending on what lens you've got, create pretty much the same image. So it's like, what is the experience like of shooting it? Because that's kind of all that matters, right? You have just this sense of everything is doing what you want it to when you do it. There's no messing around. There's nothing fiddly. It is just, which I've absolutely loved all my life. I've had DJ kit that's like that. I like cars that are like that. And if that's something that you're also into, that proper tactile feel, the responsiveness that you want in a piece of kit, this thing is almost unbeatable. And kind of building on that, I don't know whether it's the brand, the heritage, something else, but when you go to take a photo with this, it feels like you're taking a photo, which is so wishy-washy, airy-fairy, I know, but honestly, it almost makes it feel like you're creating a photo, which I know I've talked about that you get that with tactile feel, but there's something about it, and you don't get that with mirrorless cameras. It's like, I've got a Sony A1 II, which is unbelievably good in every single way imaginable. It almost can't be improved, right? But I don't use that for fun. I use this because this makes you feel like a proper photographer, and there's nothing else quite like it. And so yes, everyone in the comments is talking about how mirrorless cameras are amazing. You are correct. There is no doubts about that. But if you're more of an experiential person, this is fantastic. I'm going to sound like a bit of a Leica shill, but I use the MP in conjunction with my M11 because I find that, I suppose this is one of the drawbacks of shooting film that we're going to get into later. There's a lot of resistance when you're shooting film because you know it costs money, and so you don't take those obviously shit photos which then help you warm up, which make you think as a photographer. Whereas I can do all of that with the M11, get warmed up, feel loosey-goosey, be ready to take good photos, and then when I'm like, cool, everything seems to be aligning, the worst of the worst fair weather photographers, that's when I pull out the Leica M11. And I find that combination is very privileged, and I'm very lucky, but I found that seems to work for me. And so when I think of the situations where the Leica MP really excels, I know it's built for the street, but I think that it's the smaller moments, the more relaxed things, whether that's memories with pals, or I suppose how I've been using it a lot recently, behind the scenes images, where the main shoot is going on, and you take a couple of snaps of this, and people love the output, people love the experience, and it just feels like in a weird way, like bonding. And so what I mean by that is like when you have a huge front element pointing at you, hang on. So when you've got this looking straight at your face, hang on. You got that looking at your face. These a bit dusting. You tighten up. You become a little bit more rigid than you perhaps normally would be. Whereas when you go, oh, it's a little film camera, haha. And you can obviously still see half your face, which I think that a lot of people, rangefinders, go on about quite a lot. It feels fun and it doesn't feel so invasive and intrusive, which ultimately means that you then get more authentic, candid images and make better memories. And this then kind of links into the whole like film thing, where it's like the filmic look is the memory nostalgia starter pack, right? And so when you then are actually taking photos of things that may not be the most prominent but will actually mean something to you later, it supersets it, it multiplies it, and it really creates results that are fantastic. Could you get that on a little point and shoot? Absolutely, but I suppose I'm talking about this camera right now. And if you're curious, you see this beautiful strap. Let's see if I can get that in focus. Ooh, look at that. Wow. This is the focal point strap that one of my best pals, Mike, is making and selling. Well, he isn't actually making them, but they're being handcrafted in Germany, and they are fantastic. I've got one on my MP, one on my M11, I've then got one on my X100V, and then I've got one spare one. So if you want to get one, highly recommend it. Selling out fast, made to order as well, and there's only a certain window. Highly recommend getting yourself one of them. And so with me rabbiting on about how amazing this camera is and how amazing the M11 is in partnership, whatever, I don't think that shooting on this or shooting on any film camera, in actual fact, is going to make you a better photographer than a mirrorless camera. More specifically, the X100 series. Cheap, mirrorless, semi-easy to get, doesn't cost you a fortune. And so what I mean by that is people, I think, misattribute the benefits of shooting film to film itself, because they're like, oh, it's all about being intentional and it makes you think and yada yada yada, which is true. But I think that it's actually being on a prime lens. And so what I mean by that, yes, you when shooting film, you have to think a bit more. But a prime lens is going to force you to understand how your movement of the camera influences everything around you, and how you're then able to place objects exactly where you want them in the frame. And yes, you can do that without pressing the shutter, but on a mirrorless camera, you can do that many times. And then also when you're reviewing photos later, you can go, oh, I can now see the difference between A and B, and notice how when I took a step forward, then this thing happened over here, which I wasn't expecting, and blah, 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 blah. And so you're then able to get double the repetitions of thinking about the image. And so I think mirrorless cameras make you a better photographer than film. But I suppose let's now talk about film itself. I have no idea how our boy Joe Greer can make loading film look so cool, because every time I try and do it, I look like the meme of the orangutan trying to use a saw and a hammer. Like, I just can't get it in right. And so that I'll always be jealous of. I think at some point I'll probably look kind of cool, but it's taken me a while to get there. And kind of building on that, I've messed up a few rolls of film recently. Oh, it's so annoying. Recently, I literally took it into the film lab today. I loaded a roll and was like, not sure whether it's in, but I think it's in. Took a few photos and was like, Still not sure. But then, apparently, on the MP, you see those 2 dots up there? When they are turning, that means that the camera is, the film's going through. Actually, let's waste £1 to do this. Make sure it's in focus. Woo! It was doing that, and then I shot 37 images. I was like, 37? Alright. Kept shooting. I was then on about 45. Well, I was like, I think something might be wrong here. And yep, turns out that there is nothing on that roll of film. And there were some bangers. I'm telling you, there were some images that would blow your mind. They were the best that anyone's ever shot. But in all seriousness, there was a few potentially good photos that I was excited for that don't exist. So that is one of the downsides of film. But I suppose that makes it even more satisfying when it does work, right? And I suppose even throwing it back to the Sony A1 II again, it's like, that camera, if I wanted to shoot straight with that camera, my life would be too easy. And that's why I don't want to use it. Because I like the challenge. It's all about the experience. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Having a camera that is slightly difficult to use, that makes you think, is kind of good. I hope that you have enjoyed this relaxed style of video. Because there's going to be more of them. Because I think that this is the future of my channel. I don't want it to be highly curated. I want it to be real. I want you to feel like we're pals and that we're going to do cool stuff together. So, on that note, peace. Make sure I get that in frame. Peace. And see you in the streets. I really hope that that microphone works.